You told me not to hit record, and I hit record anyways. Caught you with your pants down, Brakken. Brakken, you are doing one of what I consider the more disgusting things right now.
Go on.
Well, you know what
Is
it
it
is.
the sleeveless shirt?
No, I very much like that. Brakken is notorious for showing up in the nick of time for these podcast recordings when it's just him and I with something cold, food. He's shoving food in his face that's supposed to be warm, at least in my opinion, supposed to be warm. And today is a hamburger cold with turkey on top. Okay, Brakken has a squirrel issue. He just got real excited and left the stage. Don't know what's happening. He shot a squirrel with a BB gun just before this. They're in his house. He seems very surprised. Those of you watching on YouTube see absolutely nothing but shoes right now. He's coming back.
A squirrel just fell out of there, and it's small, and it's sitting there on my deck. I'm going to have to take care of this.
What do you mean you're going to have to take care of it? Is it alive?
It's alive. It's sitting there, but I don't want it to get back inside, so I got to get it off the deck.
What do you want me to do here? We're live.
This is going to be 15 seconds. You just hang tight.
All right, I'll just hang tight here. Go ahead. I have no idea if we're going to keep this in or out. I did ask you guys for feedback about Q&As and if you like them or you don't. Overwhelming feedback was you like them, so we're going to keep going. In fact, later this week, we're going to wrap up our Q&A questions. Somebody described it as hearing the answer to something they didn't know they needed. So we're going to roll with that. Other updates. I think Brakken's out of shape. That's what he's telling me on the side. Brakken, when you listen to this in editing, you going to agree or disagree with me? Got a lot of messages last week after the Heat episode. People all saying they felt better about themselves.
Outside
Brakken.
front right of the new windows we put in. Front right of the front door. There's one just sitting there.
All right.
On the window?
Yeah. Go check.
Okay.
All right, we got one out.
What'd you do to it?
Well, back by like where we enter.
This is
I
not
heard like a
professional.
thunk. It fell off the board onto the porch. The thing
Why
is, this is 2.5 weeks of this. I cannot let it back inside.
I don't understand why it came out and fell. Squirrels don't just fall out of things. They're squirrels.
There's a board hanging that I opened up that's too far away for them to touch the house from it. So the only way down is to just let go and fall. And I think it got into the antifreeze a little bit, and it's a little woozy.
You're hitting them with pellet guns. You're feeding them antifreeze. You're a bad person.
It's on the third week of this nonsense. They're just chewing through our house.
Brakken, I made a comment.
I'm sorry,
while
I
you
know
were-
that is a waste.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You're gonna have to decide in post edit. But I made a comment that I think you're letting yourself get out of shape right now, and I didn't say why. And I want to know if you agree with me or not.
Okay.
Based on the conversations we've had about karting, Braden's karting consuming your life and having to miss sessions on the weekends.
Yes.
Things like that. Not because you're just letting it go, but your schedule has been crazy. And I just said that to fill the time, but I want to know if you think it's true. Or you have some good fitness.
Well,
right
now I'm really self-conscious because I show up here running late, didn't change out of my cutoff. And you took a look at me and said, "Oh, I have a feeling you're getting out of shape."
You appear very in shape. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Training has not been good. And it's funny because we're on the other side of this coin a lot, hearing the excuses. Doesn't make it hit any less different when it's you.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were, because you described like your weekly layout and then having to work on the car till 1 a.m. and or 2 a.m. sometimes, and like your schedule got nutty and things pop up. I'm like, oh man, like if you were to get your workout in, you could, but you'd be at the sacrifice of 4 hours sleep or something. And some days you are choosing other life stuff right now. And you've never been in this phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably
you're
not
healthy.
since like kid two or three, but even then athletics were my primary driver and was still a contributing factor to our family income. So I was still pretty much on it. So no, I'm hitting like, I guess what normal people would call real life for the first time.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, speaking of out of shape, or not really out of shape, but, and I have no idea where we're jumping in this podcast, if you're going to leave everything in there or you're going to cut some, but I felt very out of shape watching the NCAA national track meet. And no moment made me feel out of shape. Like the level in which these kids, young men and women, are running right now is absolutely unbelievable. Compared to the past, like Prefontaine would blend in. Prefontaine wouldn't even make nationals in the 5K, running as fast as he ran collegiately, for example. And he's, one of my many endurance idols. But in the 5K, Parker Wolf takes down the favorites.
5K.
Right. He takes down Graham Blanks. He takes down Nico Young. He takes down Kai Robinson. And Parker Wolf closes a 5K in roughly 1:52 for the 800. He runs a 1:52 or 1:53 last 800 meters of a 5K. How many humans on this earth can do that fresh alone? Out of 1 million people. Fresh, how many can run 1:52? Fresh.
I ran 5 years of college track and got down to a 153.34, I think. Fresh.
Uh-huh. Well, there you go.
Stupid.
Do you think 1 in 1 million can run 1:52? Fresh?
No.
Men, women, not even 1 in 1 million. And the best
we have 350, 360, 380 million in the U.S.?
So can 300 some run 1:52 or under? No, probably not. Anyways. No, I don't
1
think
in
so.
2 million.
Unbelievable display. And then somebody closes in that to win a title after already running, 4,200 meters? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Did you watch the races?
Yeah.
He's just a baby.
What are your thoughts?
He's so cute.
Lisa wants a squirrel now.
He's furry.
He's very furry.
He's tiny.
He's never seen the light of day.
Do you guys
He's poisoned.
There's another one in there.
I thi-
No, a big one.
I'm not excited anymore. I'm gonna cry.
it's just the way this episode's going to go, isn't it?
Maybe. Lisa was really fired up about this, and she just poked her head and said, "Oh, it's so little. I'm not excited anymore. I'm going to cry."
Hey,
Hello.
so
It's a baby.
the war on squirrels has now made you sad when you realize they're cute and innocent.
It's so tiny. Like its tail isn't even big. And he's got like really fuzzy fur on his back.
Well, just know that he will
It's
grow up
tiny.
to be a destructive monster, and squirrels are vicious, and you can cut him down at the knees before he has the chance.
The parent is still in there. That's the one I'm concerned about.
I'm sad for him now. Okay.
Listen, I'm the only innocent one here in this group, so don't drag me into this murdering,
I'm gonna
killing
go cry.
spree. Oh.
All right. What I didn't tell her was this thing scrambled around the deck, which is on our second floor, and then it got over onto the gutter, and then it was hanging there looking at me, and I got closer, and it slipped down, and it was hanging by one hand like in a movie, and I just took the claw hammer and just pulled its tiny little fingers off the gutter, and it had to drop down. I was like Mufasa. Well, I was like Scar, and it was like Mufasa.
Listen, I'm a deer hunter, and one of my favorite things to do, and even that's crossing a line for me. Brakken, how big is this squirrel? How big are we
proud of
talking?
this.
Size-wise, smaller than a fist?
No. Fist and a half.
Okay.
The parent, though, is a big son of a gun. That's the one I'm waging war on.
The only time this podcast goes off the rails is on your end. I just want to make that clear. I don't have kids though, and I have a much more controlled environment here. So, what do you think of the races?
I'll be able to clean this stuff up if we want to.
Well, that's up to you. This is real life.
So during the 5K, Kirk, I had a moment of realization as well, because they started out fast. The guy who won the 10K got right to the front, ran a 64-second first lap. That's 4:16 per mile pace, 4:17 probably. And then it slowed. Mm-hmm. And then they were what appeared to be jogging. And they went 68.70. And that is 4:32 pace and 4:40 pace. And that's when it hit me right there. When you look at it and go, oh, they are jogging. What are they even doing here? And then you realize, no, they're still running faster than I could run.
I think
but it looks like they're jogging. That's when it hit me.
That's a testament. People who are fast, when they run fast, don't appear to be trying hard because of their fitness. And then they thus appear like, oh, I could go jump into that race and do it. I can go jog 68s. And then you realize what 68s feel like. And you would look very different doing it. And by 3 or 4 of them, the arms would be crossing the body and there'd be a big shoulder swing. And suddenly it'd look like, what's this guy doing off the back? It's unbelievable. Fast people not looking fast. And the TV takes speed out of everything as well.
Well, I wouldn't get 3 or 4 before I started crossing. Last summer, I ran a 4:32 mile. Kicking. Hanging on for dear life. They slowed down to that pace in the middle of their 5K and had a chat. That's depressing.
Okay, so what was your favorite race of the weekend? Let's pick your 2 favorite races and why. Steeple?
Steeplechase and 5K.
Okay, which steeple, men or women's?
Men.
Okay. Why the steeple? Interesting choice.
I really like watching steeplechase. It's one of my top 2 championship events to watch, I think. But just a good race. Good close. Good. I think he ran 60 seconds, 64 seconds last lap. 60 maybe, with barriers. That's just really fast.
I would say my favorite race is the men's 5K. I actually really like the women's steeple. Those two got after it. New collegiate record was set, I believe. But I'm going to go with the men's 800. You had a D2 transfer, ran 148 as a PR in his super senior year with a year of eligibility, transfers D1, goes from a 148 down to a 144 in that 1 year. And wins from last place with 100 meters to go. And somebody put him on fast forward. And he wins. I mean, he could have made a case to get DQ'd because he did trip somebody round in that last. That's, I guess, carnage from a tight race. But I think, so that was a fantastic race. Sam Whitmarsh was definitely poised to win and didn't. And what my biggest takeaway from the race weekend was, other than Parker Valby, who just took her fitness and used it and didn't leave an option for anybody to weasel their way in, is right. I don't know if the fastest person won any single distance race on the men's side.
No.
The women's side across the board, Maya Ramsden, Parker Valby, maybe in the 800 on the women's there was some arguing to be made. Maybe that tactically could have went different. On the men's side, I don't think the fastest person won any of the races. Like the most fit. If they all time trialed, the person who's the national champ would not have been the leader if they time trialed across the board. So racing matters.
Yeah. Yeah, Nico Young set the 3K and 5K, or 5K and 10. He also ran 10K national records this year and didn't win. The outdoor fastest 5K time, 13:06 so far this year, did not win. The fastest miler did not win. In fact, the fastest miler took last in the final.
Took last.
It's just it's a crazy event. And then I guess my favorite moment was the 10K, the last 500 meters of the 10K. There's a pile up with 500 meters to go, and someone who hit the track got up and won the race. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Go back. So go on NCAA's YouTube channel now that the games are done. You can either watch the full days recaps or you can pick individual races. Go to YouTube, go to NCAA, click on videos, and you'll have to start scrolling down, and you'll see there's other sports mixed in there. Baseball's going on right now and some other things on the NCAA level, but you can just filter through and watch them. I've watched them all twice already. Watched them once, at night sitting around, and then once on the assault bike this morning, but some great viewing. And then let's just touch on real quick. I have not consumed the Hyrox World Champs yet, and I will. What's your takeaway from that?
Well, first of all, segue to that. The guy who won steeplechase went to the same high school as Jarrett Newby, Meg Jacoby, Ryan Brizolara, that whole crew. And Meg Jacoby was his track and cross-country coach in high school. So a little
pretty cool
Hyrox and OCR connection there. Yes. Now he went on and he's a national champ, D1, NCAA. So I guess shout out to Meg Jacoby for laying the groundwork for what just happened.
A lot of reasons to shout out Meg Jacoby this week.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what's your takeaway?
The squirrels are still chewing. What is going on here, Kirk?
I can't speak for the squirrels.
They have an opening. Leave. One of the babies is already out. Just go. Stop ruining my house. Oh, anyway, Hyrox was the same exact thing as NCAA's. Same exact. Fitness mattered. Racing mattered more.
Explain.
And on the women's side, just like Maya Ramsden or, and I think I might have said that name wrong, and Parker Valby, one of the clear top dogs, it's Meg and Lauren. Meg went out and took care of business. And Lauren ran into some issues on course and then worked her way back. But on the men's side, number one seed struggled. And some of the other top seeds struggled. And it was just racing. Once you got out there and once people were in the middle of a race, everything they had done prior, all bets were off. You just had to still race. And some people had their day and some people didn't, and others struggled and came back, and others struggled and never came back. But it did not go according to seed time, specifically on the men's side.
That's what I saw. And the thing, and a lot of you listening don't know what Hyrox is. It's a hybrid style event. You basically do a station, run 1,000 meters times 8. So you cover about 5 miles. You do 8 stations. And it's freaks of athletes who end up excelling the top in the sport on both men's and women's side. But what happens is, like, you watch Luke Hauser tip in the 1,500 meters. He went from leading to last. For Washington. Mm-hmm. And do you know how far behind the winner he was? Like 2 seconds. Okay? Not even. Something like that. Right?
I think he faded worse. But yeah.
Okay. In Hyrox, if you tip, that 2 seconds can turn into literally 6 minutes. When you tip, it's like the piano lands on your back, but like 2 of them. It's like once you can't access, once the button's been pushed, it's like those time gaps don't necessarily reflect how the race played out. And that's how OCR had been from the beginning as well. You see a big time gap, and you're like, okay, well, that was a clean sweep. Meg ran away with it. But she didn't. But she did. Because when you tip, it's gone. Mm-hmm. It's gone. That's what I saw just looking down the board. Then you see somebody who apparently laid an egg and finished 15 minutes slower, supposedly the best in the world. But when you swing for the fences and you miss, there's no coming back from it. Even the best, when they fade hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an unforgiving sport. And so for what Lauren did, which is get stuck on station 2 and 3, drop all the way back to 8th, and then close all the way back to 2nd, is a testament to what she talked about on this very podcast, which is her definition of success is not position. It's racing hard.
Yep.
And I think she said her quote was, "I don't think I've ever had a bad race because I haven't given up yet." and that's the only thing that kept her in that race, was the fact that her race didn't end when the lead left her. She stayed on it and kept trying really hard. Mm-hmm. And on the very last wall got up. Like she had to try hard the entire 100% of the race. And I don't think there's many people in the sport or on the planet that would have stayed on it the way she stayed on it. Just a crazy, crazy example of perseverance.
Especially being demoralized early and it's so easy to mentally check out if you're behind. An early fall in a traditional race, or having a bad early section in a Hyrox, and then being like, I worked all year for this, and it's not going at all like I had envisioned. Reminds me of Lindsay Webster coming back after getting her hair caught in the barbed wire in Asheville one year. Made 2.5 minutes back up or something. Yeah. So where do you think we are? I have one last question about track and field, collegiate track and field, and then let's dive into summer gear. We're going to spend maybe a half an hour talking about summer gear. Who in the collegiate scene, men and women's side, do you think will make their nationals Olympic team? Who do you think will represent their country? And we have a lot of NCAA athletes that aren't from the States as well. We have a big Australian contingency, a British contingency. We have people from other places. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Who do you think will make the Olympic team that's a collegiate?
This could age really poorly, this take here, Kirk. Mm-hmm. I do not think anyone 800 meters or longer will make the Olympic team.
You think the 400, that'll be the longest event where we get a collegiate?
Yeah, and I think the 400, I think there are 2 to 3 athletes in the 400 who have a legit chance of making it. I don't think they all will, but I think we could see a 400 meter dash runner go, but I don't think anyone 800 or longer will do it. Can do it, sure. Will do it, no.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Fields are too good?
Yeah, I think across the board, the fields are too good. In the NCAA right now, it's to the point where the top racers are able to do things that 5 to 10 years ago, no one was able to do. The NCAA has gotten that much better, but the top of the pros are the same way. And they're just too good. They're too dialed. Look at our 1500 meter for the men and the women. We have people taking Diamond League podiums. That's just so much different than what the NCAA guys are capable of, and women. And our 5K, 10K crowd, we're as talented and as high performing as we've ever been. And it's not a knock on the NCAA. They could be there in a few years, but these guys and women have had a few years to take themselves to the next level, and they have. We're seeing outrageous performances across the board. So I just don't see any of our NCAA distance squad making it. Unfortunately.
They're slightly over-raced. They're right on the cusp, like Nico Young, if he nails his 10K or 5K, whatever he chooses to pursue. But he's 10 seconds short right now, of what it's going to take, probably. 5 seconds short, or at least the kick.
No one's on fire.
I think the only chance... go ahead.
Well, Nico Young was on fire indoor and to start outdoor in a great 10K not too long ago. But he's not trending up right now. Our milers aren't really trending up. Our 800, no one's like when Cole. Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Hocker.
Cole Hocker. When he made his run and made the Olympics, he was trending up every single race. He just kept getting better and better, and his tactics got better and better. I don't see anyone like that right now. The only person you could say is Parker Valby is untested. She might go out there and PR by 20 seconds because no one's pushed her yet. But outside of that, everyone seems to be just wearing a long season right on their sleeves right now.
I think you're right. I don't think any collegiate qualifies other than the untested Parker Valby, who Elise Cranny just ran 14:46 this weekend, 14:45 in the 5K. She was last Olympic cycle. She was the 5K champ. I think she went. Wasn't she the 5K champ and even made the Olympic final, I believe? Elise Cranny. Yeah. Anyway, she ran 14:46. Parker Valby just ran 14:52 solo time trial at nationals. So if there's anybody who's going to attach, and does she have a kick down the stretch? Probably not. I don't think that's her type. So can she outrun them? Probably not. Will she fall short? Most likely. But that one I would pay good money to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The shoe guy in me questions things because she's so fragile. And I don't know if you saw, she had a modified Vaporfly that she ran at nationals just for extra cushioning and everything. Yeah, at the end of a long season, having to drop down to spikes, not getting the benefit of that anymore. She's going to be in a tough position. But again, if anyone has untapped potential, it's her.
Anything else on the collegiate, the running scene that we soaked up? When are the Olympic trials? People should start looking forward to those. Olympic trials run when? July?
July, right?
About a month. And then Olympics are mid to late August.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good running coming down. I've been trying to get some of these.
It's an exciting time.
Some of these top ends on our podcast, guys. I don't know what it's going to take. My blue check mark on Instagram isn't really, doing it for me anymore because you can just buy those these days. So I think I slide into their inbox and I just another chump who paid for a blue check mark, Terrible.
It really changed our lives when they started that.
Sure.
You were our meal ticket.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to dive into summer gear?
Let's do it. Yeah, we were doing Braden and I were watching one of the car channels that we watch, and they did a show basically redoing an episode on recommendations for best cars under $30,000. And they said, it feels like we just did this, but that was 4 years ago. And it struck me right then. We haven't done one of these in a bit. It feels like we just did a gear recommendation, but it's been over a year, and we haven't done summer specific in a bit here. So we're going to update our recommendations for best options across the board, specifically tailored to summertime.
Do you think summer gear matters as much as winter gear?
No, I don't.
Yeah, me either. Where do you want to start the conversation? I can start with something I recently discovered in the last couple of months with my Swiftwick socks.
Let's start there.
So, so typically when I find gear that I like, I go on, and maybe this is probably foolish of me, but I say, oh, this is the highest price sock. I read on it, and then I read on the ones a little lower, and I go, highest price ones. I'm going to buy a bunch of those then. They must be good and pricey for a reason. I don't always shop that way, but with my gear, I sometimes do. And so I've been running in like the most expensive Swiftwick socks, which are like $20 a pair. Well, we got together. When did we get together? I don't know, January, February, whenever our man weekend was. And you had a much thinner, sexier version of a Swiftwick sock. I forget the name of it. The Flight? Something?
Aspire.
The Aspire. And I was like, oh, those feet look real nice in those socks. And they just looked fast. And I said, I want some of those fast socks. So I bought myself some of the Aspires. Whole arsenal of them. It's the best summer sock I've ever worn. Hands down, no question. Even once it gets saturated with sweat, it hugs your foot, hugs your shoe, doesn't move, breathes as well as a sock can. That sock, the Aspire Swiftwick. Fantastic sock. I even got the ones with like the 2-inch ankle for the trails. Probably the best summer sock, I've ever come across in 40 years on this earth. What do you think? Is that your favorite summer sock?
It's my favorite sock. I have socks that are lighter and airier, but I find that when they get lighter than that sock, they lose durability and they don't stay up as well. The Swiftwick Aspire, to me, is the perfect thin sock that's not too thin. I don't like cushioning, but I do like durability. and I like a sock that stays on my foot. I don't have blister issues. I only have issues when the sock moves around on my foot, and this sock doesn't. So I would say it's not the most breathable sock. Like, I feel warm in the sock sometimes, but when it's drenched with sweat, the sock doesn't change. Yeah. It always does its thing, even when it's soaked. So to that end, yeah, it's my most dependable sock I've ever run in my life.
So we agree. Now I'm hoping it's the Aspire I got, because I feel like this sock is pretty thin. Am I not thinking of the right sock?
No, it's thin. It's just not the thinnest sock out there. Like, it doesn't have
not see-through.
Like an open weave kind of thing with mesh panels on it. It's one size all the way through, one thickness all the way through.
Yeah. Well, anyways, you inspired me to purchase the Aspire by Swiftwick. And if you're looking for new socks, I think they run like $15 a pop, $14 a pop. I saw them on sale, and I ended up grabbing some, but that's the first thing I'm gonna go to. I've never thought much about my summer socks until I wore those. I'm like, this is an elite sock for summer. So, what's your first recommendation?
Yeah, that's where I'll stay. Again, you can find lighter, airier, meshier socks, but they're not gonna last the same way. And this sock sticks to your shoe, into your insole better than a lot of socks do, and it handles water very, very well. Way back in the day, Kirk, it uses olefin fibers in there, along with other, manufactured blends of things in there. But way back in the day, when I was training for my first Spartan Race World Championship, I had never done races going in and out of water until I did an OCR race, other than steeplechase, but I didn't wear socks with my spikes in college, like most of us didn't. Mm-hmm. And so I was struggling with having wet socks and shoes. It wore on me. I raced sockless for like 15 years. So to have to wear socks at all was a challenge. Yep. And then wearing thick ones that would hold up to the demands. Anyways, I tried everything. I had Darn Tough. I had Belega. I had Wigwam was a sock I tried back in the day. And Swiftwick was one of them. But I test ran in all of them. And then since I was teaching at a high school and we had these really nice science scales that were really fine-tuned, I'd weigh them all. I'd soak them and weigh them again, and I'd soak them, and I'd just squeeze them one time, like I hit the ground once, and then I'd reweigh them. And Swiftwick did the best at retaining less weight than the others once you hit the ground once in them. So that's what I went with originally, and I've just never turned back.
You're a nerd, and I like it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. And I'm okay with that.
All right. So moving on from socks then, unless you have other thoughts, what's your next summer gear revelation or recommendation?
Well, the thing you put your socks in. And I'm going to just plant my flag into the ground. I did this partially a month or two ago, but I'm just going to double down and say I am out on Hoka Speed Goat as my do-everything bulletproof tank of a shoe. It is no longer my workhorse. I just can't do it with that shoe anymore. It's still a phenomenal shoe, but not for me.
Okay, elaborate. How does this have to do with summer?
Well, because I do 90% of my running in summer in the Speed Goat. So that's my daily trainer. And I've always felt that they breathe fairly well for a massive shoe. I ran my first trail 50K in the Swiftwick Aspires and the Speed Goat 3s, and that was the warmest Speed Goat version that I've ever had, and it still was fine. And everyone since then has gotten airier in terms of breathing, but they changed the midsole compound and they changed the bottom. And it's almost like a decoupled front and back, not in the sense that it has like a gap in it, but that it has two different compounds and they move differently. And the forefoot of the Speed Goat is no longer as dense or inflexible. And for a lot of people, that makes it faster. And for me, it's not an all-day shoe for me anymore. My forefoot doesn't like the forefoot of that shoe past like 40 minutes anymore, unless I'm running very hard and fast. So I can't just plod in that shoe all day. It's not my ultra shoe anymore. It's not my long run shoe. So I've had to find something different to replace that.
And what have you replaced it with?
Well, the Salomon Ultra Glide and the Salomon, what would that be? This is embarrassing. I'm blanking on the other one. Both of them are fine, but I still, I come back, it was Hoka, the Tecton X. And I think the 2 solved all the issues of the 1. So I think that the Tecton X is my current tank of a shoe.
And you think the 2 is a notable upgrade from the 1? Because I've been debating about experimenting.
If the 1 doesn't feel good for you on the upper or lock down correctly, the 2 fixes that. The midsole, the outsole, everything is the exact same 1 to 2. The difference is the upper and the lacing system. So if you couldn't get it to sit right on your foot, the 2 is a notable upgrade. If 1 is fine for you, it's way cheaper, so just keep getting the 1.
Speaking of shoes, I noticed like my one qualm with like some of the super shoes out there is how they've cut weight in the upper completely. And that's great. It's also see-through. And in the winter, my toes, literally on bad days, if I have a quality session, freeze. Like it's like you can feel a draft coming through them. On the flip side of the coin, like these shoes are so like light and airy, and whatever materials they choose, like can breathe. And now in the summer, it's like built-in ventilation. Like the Alpha Flies, like for example, some of these other renditions are like, oh my God. So feet are cooler for sure with like when you put the super shoes on anyways, I'm noticing like the AC is on a little bit. Yeah. Whereas in the winter, I'm like, I actually have to wear wool socks sometimes on a quality day, like a big clunker of a wool sock with like this light, Corvette shoe, which is kind of like probably a faux pas.
Right.
But sometimes you have to because of the mesh in the toe box.
Yeah, they have gone to the nth degree with these uppers, but they're not designed for winter.
Mm-hmm. All right, what else comes to mind then? Summer gear.
Well, what about you? Are you still Speedgoat is your number one trail recommendation for summer training?
Yeah, if you're not looking to rip, it's a serviceable shoe for like an hour and a half or more race. It's pretty dense, I would say. Like it doesn't feel terribly responsive, but it feels like you get the same shoe at the end as you get in the beginning, and I like that about that shoe. But yeah, that's still my go-to trail shoe option right now. And I haven't been on the trails much because of this road half coming up, so I haven't been putting as much time in. But when I go, yes, that's the shoe I'm wearing. It's funny, I had a bunch of people message me after I went on a tangent about the Saucony Endorphin Pro, just hating it running fast. Or not the Endorphin Pro, the Endorphin Edge on the trails. And it's everybody's favorite shoe but mine, apparently. So I will run with that shoe still easy, but I'm not running fast with it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll wrap up the shoes. I've been training. I haven't been training enough right now, but when I am outside right now, I have been extensively testing the Max 3. Would that be
2?
Max 2?
2. The
Max 2 and the Lightspeed, and I really like both those shoes. I like them a lot. I think they're the 2 best shoes VJ has ever put out, and the Max 2 I can kind of just spend a lot of time in. They're still best if I'm moving quicker. But the other day I did a like 6-mile loop in them. And the first 4 miles, maybe 3.5 was technical. Then it opened up to a half mile of grass. And then I made a wrong turn and had to run back along the road to get back to the parking lot, like 2 miles. And it was a mix between the gravel shoulder and then actually having to be on the asphalt from time to time. And they did all right. Like I never thought I was in a road shoe, but I kept thinking, yeah, if I hit a mile or two during a trail race of pavement or gravel, I'd be fine in this shoe. They held up surprisingly well. So I've been really impressed with that. And the Lightspeed is just a fun, dynamic shoe. So both of those, VJ has made 2 shoes now rather than cleats.
VJs aren't known to move with your foot, and I would say the Lightspeed moves with your foot. The way an athletic trail shoe should rip. That's how I feel about it anyways.
Yeah.
And if you think to the past, I actually did a 5K time trial on the roads with my VJ Max, my original. This is back in like COVID days. I like it so much. This is an upgraded version. I think you can run on the roads with this shoe. Like if you had to, if it was a trail race that had a half marathon, but 4 of the miles were on concrete, you could not only justify it, still may be the right shoe for the job because it responds well on concrete. You got to go a full size down though, in my opinion. That shoe is like a clown shoe. VJ went from running too small to running way too big, so you got to size down. But other than that, it's a good shoe. I went a half size down, and they're still too big, like laughably big. Yeah. So something to think about.
I'm a half size down, and then I have a big insole I put in it. I put an insole from a craft shoe that has like a super critical insole, and it's really beefy. I have that in there, and it makes it fit perfectly for me.
That works. What should we move on to from the shoes? What do you got?
Well, I want to update hydration.
Okay.
Because I've had a revelation, Kirk. And that revelation is, if at all possible, just get used to hydration vests. Here I am on year 10 of trying to avoid hydration vests by trying every belt and handheld possible. And it's great when it works, but they discontinue these belts so often because they're not a huge market share, and they put all their tech into the vests. And so this year, going through all the new, at the running event, looking at all the new vests and belts they're putting out, and then looking at Runner In and Running Warehouse and all these little launch sites that they have for what's coming, 100% of the tech has gone into the vests.
Sure.
And the same belts are the same belts. Nathan had their Vapor Car belt, which I loved, but had flaws, and they replaced it with the Vapor Peak belt, I believe it was called, and it had more flaws. And now we're on year like 4 of that, and it hasn't been updated. Our Nathan, what is the one we love now? Is it just
the Peak? Yeah, just the Peak.
The Peak. Mm-hmm. And maybe the other one's the Pinnacle belt. The Peak has been not updated for like 7 years now. And it's still great if it works for you, and it's a nightmare if you can't get it cinched down. The Speedgoat belt has everything you could ever want, but the closure system just doesn't stay cinched. What am I thinking? Nathan Trail Mix belt has only gotten worse over the years as they've gotten more minimal with how much material they use. Now the bottles slap around more than they used to. The Waist Tubes Naked belt, fantastic. A few of the other Salomon Pulse and S-Lab Pro, those versions they're all fine, but they have their limitations. There's only so much you can do with a mesh belt to give it stability, which is really nothing. So if you have one that works, that's great, but they don't make them in high quantities and they don't update them very often. So my revelation is that if you can just force yourself to get comfortable in a vest, do it. And you will save yourself so much misery, because I go to these hot races or trails and see the people who are just used to it. They don't think twice about it. And here I am every single hot weather run that I need hydration, agonizing over how I'm going to carry it. And it's made my life unpleasant.
I don't agonize. I go right to my old trusty Nathan Peak belt and go on my merry way. What
works for you?
It works for me. Well, tell me, do you have a vest now that you feel like is the right call?
No, because I have way too many vests, and I like certain parts of all of them. If I could do it all again, I would buy 2 vests, a minimal one and a pack rat vest. And I would just run in them until they worked for me, until I never thought about them again, which might just be what I do the rest of this summer. I really like my Ultra Spire Basham vest. I have an Instinct vest. It's a European brand. And I really like 2 of my Salomon vests. I really like them, but I just have to get used to them. Right now, I can only wear them in cool weather. Otherwise, they just drive me nuts.
What do you think front carry versus back carry hydration? Bladders or flasks?
I can't stand upper back carry, and I really like the kangaroo pouch in the back. I think it disappears there. Salomon has one right now. I think it's the S-Lab Pro 3, and it carries 250 millimeter in front on each side, and it has space for one in the back. And if you don't need a lot, that's probably the lightest, airiest minimalist vest they have out there. But either way, unless you're going really long, I struggle with bladders and back.
Yeah, was that when we got together for our training weekend? You had a vest that had like 2 lower back bottles on them, or mid back. Was that you, or where did I see that? So what vest is that? Because that looks slick.
Well, I had one with 1 lower. That was the Ultra Spire Basham. And then Ultra Spire also makes the Momentum, and I believe that has 2 lower back bottles.
Okay. See, the issue for me is like I'm a little chesty and I have a forward lean. And if you put anything on my chest, I feel like it just pulls me forward. And my boobs are already bouncing a little bit already. And then hence why the Basham is such a good vest for women, because it takes those off the chest. But like I just can't do the front pockets full. I'll only do if I'm backed into a corner and I have no other option. So like finding a way around that. So that's not a bad call. But those water bottles aren't terribly big on that vest though, right? The Basham?
Like 19 ounces for the back.
Each?
The front doesn't fit much, but yeah.
Okay.
18, 19.
I'll stick with my Nathan Peak belt. It's large, it's bulky. It looks like it wouldn't be very comfortable or light, but when it's on, it just sits in a place in which I don't notice it. It's like I don't have anything on me, even though it appears like, oh my God, you got this small backpack sitting like on your tailbone. It doesn't feel that way whatsoever. You agree with that, huh? Yeah,
I've used it probably 50 times in my life, and I think 10 of them have gone seamlessly. Because our hips are much different, you and I, and our glutes are much different. And when I get it cinched to where I want it, it just disappears and it's great. It's stable. But when I don't get it where I want it, I end up fiddling with it the entire run.
Anything else with hydration, carrying hydration, anything?
I mean, handhelds are the way to go in summer. They just really are if you don't mind that. And if you're not, the downside for us is OCR and trail and mountain. We do so much power hiking that handhelds can be an issue. Handhelds are the best way to carry water in the summer.
What about carrying your phone in the summer for music and podcasts? What have you been doing for that?
Yeah. I have the Nathan Vapor Car belt still, which is the Pinnacle belt, or I use the Naked belt. The Naked belt is, I've trusted it now. I can just bomb descents and the phone's not coming out. Any of the waist style belts works really, really well for that. And phones are so water resistant now. Most of them you can have a meter underwater for like a half hour. Your sweat's going to be fine for it. But if you really have an issue, you put it in a plastic bag. But I do have a fully waterproof Craft fanny pack, really minimal for when it pours. But otherwise, yeah, I'm in the Naked belt, like probably 95% of my runs.
Yeah, I still use I think it's called Arm Pocket. It's an arm sleeve, but I'm getting some chafing with it rubbing underneath.
Do you really?
A shirt. Yeah, it looks gigantic. I gotta come up with a better option than that. Yeah. Why do you laugh at that? I really am like the only one. Like I'll go do quality sessions with a giant phone strapped to my arm. Gotta find.
That's why I'm laughing, because you're the only one I know.
What about what I've had a revelation of recently is hats. Good running hats. What's your take on hats in the summer?
Well, they're essential for me because I'm bald and pale. I just can't burn my scalp. You only burn your scalp once before you decide you're never letting that happen again. So along with that, I have realized that rub-on cream sunscreen is better than spray-on for getting into my eyes, but that I just have to wear a hat. And so I wear Boko, again, like 90+% of the time. It's so airy, it's so light, but it does help with sweat management. But I have to. And then our deer flies get so bad at times around here that I have to have something that blocks them from taking chunks out of my head and neck.
Yeah, those Boko have these huge mesh holes, kind of like built-in air conditioning ventilation. Then what people also don't think about, which I've noticed recently, is so Boko's what I wear, and they have some fun options on their website. There's other stuff you can buy, but you can't really go wrong with any of their stuff. And then once you saturate it with sweat anyways, it like kind of acts as like a cooling system. Now you're doused in your own like cool headed operation. And like that actually works oddly well too. And in fact, when I'm on the treadmill now, I have a whole sleeve of them on my treadmill handle, like the rail. And when one gets saturated, I just slide one off, slide the old goopy, drippy one back on the rail, and I just like cycle through them. And they're beautiful. They work so well that way. So I think I got like 6 Boko hats now, which is kind of a collection. But if you're not onto the Boko train yet, like you are definitely missing out. Yeah. What else comes to mind?
I think Cieli has the other best option, but they're twice as much money.
Have you won?
Nope. Picked them up in REI, put them on my head, thought this is awesome, looked at the price tag and thought not that awesome.
What about sunglasses? Do you have any takes on sunglasses?
Yeah, I ran without sunglasses my entire life. And I just recently started, and it's a revelation. It really is. It has helped my allergies a ton because it keeps pollen from getting in my eyes and keeps brush and branches from slapping against my eyes, which is a big trigger for me. And it also I feel locked in when I run in sunglasses because in the past I've only used them for massive efforts. So I put them on right now and it's like, all right, armor's on, even if it's just an easy run. So I always just got and I've talked about this on here before, I ordered off AliExpress or Alibaba and I just got knockoff Oakleys. And now like Tifosi and so many of these gas station brands make glasses that are every bit as good as Oakleys were 5 years ago for like $20 or $40. I think you can't go wrong with that. But Jason Silva gave me a pair of Oakleys and they're really, really nice. So again, like if you can, and the lenses are significantly better. Their prism lenses do such a good job on the trails. So they have handled that going in and out of shade and sunlight issue that trail runners have better than anything I've had. So I still think Oakley has a leg up on the lens department, but in terms of performance of everything else, it doesn't really matter.
I feel faster in sunglasses. I think I'm actually faster when I wear the right pair of shades when I'm out ripping. It almost puts you in like your own weird tunnel vision. Like you see some of the pros like choose to wear shades like Josh Kerr and some of the guy that won the steeple, your favorite race, was wearing shades. Something about her magic. Well, no, her as well, yeah. You almost feel invisible, but also like a beast. Like because you have glasses on, nobody can see you.
Okay.
Do you ever feel like that? It's like kind of like I'm in my own little world. If you can't see my eyes, you can't connect with me. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm thinking. I'll crush you. I don't think I'd wear them in a race yet.
That's why people wear sunglasses in interviews so often. Like when you see celebrities or musicians wear them out in public, it's just like it's a security blanket. But yeah, I get that, but for endurance. The moment I get them on, because originally I only wore them for ultras or for big, massive efforts. So now it's like my mind knows if they go on, expect something big, and then the run gets easier. So there is something to that. I never wore them for speed or anything like that, so I guess I can't speak to that. But I can see how putting them on, just like putting your visor down on your helmet, it's go time.
Yep, I'll purposely not wear them on recovery days sometimes because like, it's not a day to be badass, Kirk. Like, you can go slow. Weird mind games we play with ourselves. I will say investing, I wear polarized shades when I run, and it makes like, I say cuts glare off of everything. I think investing in a good pair of running shades and like also like some shades, like let's say you just have like a pair of whatever laying around, like they don't all ventilate the same as well. So like if you get like a sports specific, like because they can condensate or you can get sweat in them and pretty soon they're fogging up on you. So like I say spend money on it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And a good pair won't bounce on your nose or just kind of rattle the entire time.
Right. They disappear.
I think I have an asymmetrical face, slightly. Like with my ears and my nose, it's like it doesn't have one clean line for them to sit on. And so like a good nose piece and ear, what would you call them? The ear wraps on them. That makes a difference for me. Cheap ones rattle around like crazy. Good ones sit still.
We already decided on that. Ear handles. Remember? We figured that out. We figured that out in a previous.
But those don't like
conversation.
Wrap. The sport shades just go straight. So I didn't know really what you'd call them.
Don't know.
Ear arms.
The arms of the sunglasses. The arms. The legs. What other gear? What other, as we're looking at wrapping this up here in a few minutes, the list isn't as long, but what about like wicking material? Like, for example, the Nike Aero Swift Tight that has like the built-in liner. Not a fan. I don't think it wicks that well either, for example.
Not for summer.
Not for summer, right? So I found other options. What do you got there? I see you're looking at your phone.
Yeah, I was checking up the exact verbiage. So for the shirt, for up top, if I have to wear a shirt, which sometimes because of the flies, I have to wear a shirt. Or if I'm going to wear a pack or just whatever. With bugs, sometimes I have to wear a shirt. Or if you're racing, sometimes you want to wear a shirt. Or for self-conscious reasons. The Craft Superlight mesh is as breathable as it absolutely gets. But there are knockoff versions or other brand versions. If you get a cycling mesh base layer top, it's like wearing like fishnets, except athletic. It just really, really breathes. And so with a pack and that on, it's like running shirtless, but without the chafing. Whether you get the Craft Superlight or just like on Amazon, probably 50% of the brands that are cycling base layer work really well. Some of them are a little heavier than others, but I've ordered 3 of them, I think. In fact, I raced that OCR race in Michigan last year in one of those cycling base layer tops. Just enough to keep me warm and to protect me from the scratches of the branches running through the dark off-road, but didn't cause me any issues with water retention or anything like that. So I think cycling base layer tops are the absolute way to go if you don't want a top, but you have to wear one and it's hot.
I haven't tried the Craft. That's a good idea though. And even like sometimes I don't use like the anti-chafe cream. I'm just like, I don't like putting it on. So like I'll choose a thin shirt just if I have a long run and I don't want to like chafe. So like having something that almost feels non-existent can be smart. What about the bottom, like tights or split shorts?
I don't like tights in heat. I really don't. Tried it. There are just very few other than Virus. Virus is one of the only split shorts that just feels good when it's soaked.
You mean tights?
It doesn't really change how it rides on you for tights.
Okay, you said split shorts. I was like, I don't think Virus makes split shorts. That's not their jam.
Sorry, tights. But for split shorts, they all work. They're all fine. I run in a pair of John G. I have 3 pairs of Nike. I have a pair of Asics. But the one I've been reaching for more than any other, 10,000.
I've been seeing it. Tell me more.
The 10,000 3-inch distance short. They also make a 5-inch distance short. They're not special. Like their material, I don't think is really any better than anyone else's, but they seem to be a little bit more hydrophobic than some other materials where it takes longer for them to soak through. Things roll off it better than other brands. And they're a split short that's not too snug or short and not too floppy and loose looking like a kilt. It's kind of right in between where you have a little bit more material there, but it's not a ton of material. They're way too expensive. 10,000 is one of those like boutique fitness brands and it's too expensive. But if you can find a pair, they're fantastic. And they became great for me as soon as I cut the liner out and wore them with my running briefs. Doing that changed everything. But I think like 3 out of 4 runs, I find myself grabbing, maybe even more, grabbing those pair of shorts. And I bought a second pair because of it.
Yeah, the version of like most you listening probably never heard of Virus, like if you're a mainstream runner, but they have a lightweight short version of their tights, just Virus International. And I wish I knew the model, but I don't know the model offhand. It's a shorter cut.
Yeah.
It's very thin. It sticks. It has like breathable on the inside of your thighs, like a different material. And they're cheap. They're real cheap.
Yeah. They don't have great modesty, but they work well in heat.
That's fair. Anything else you want to throw at our listeners today?
I thought I had one other thing I wanted to say for the heat, but apparently I don't. Yeah, if I only could own one thing for the summer, I would have I'd have to take two. I'd have the Hoka Tecton X and the VJ Light Speeds. Unless I was really ripping, and then I'd take the Salomon S-Lab Pulsars. And then I would have my 10,000 shorts, and I can't even believe, I feel like a Instagram Finstagram influencer saying that, but the 10,000 shorts are that good. And then craft super light mesh top and a Boko hat. And then I think I would take probably the Basham vest or Salomon's lightest S-Lab vest, whichever one you could find at REI. And then a pair of, I'd still go Oakley's if I had my way, Oakley's. Oh, and I've been using the Coros Pace 3, and I still think it's the best budget watch out there. Still has a quirk or two, but it has more features than the Garmin. It has better GPS accuracy from what I've found, and like triple the battery life. So that's what I'm sticking with. Coros Pace 3 currently. And with just that, as long as I had a way to do the laundry every day, that's all I would need in my life.
And you're going to look cool while doing it.
Naked belt.
And all that sweet gear. I keep hearing somebody knocking on my door.
right.
It's like the second time in like 5 minutes. I think I'm tripping out. So I think I'm going to go check on what that situation is. Maybe it's a neighbor needing rescuing. That happens around here.
Maybe it's a squirrel.
No, it's not. Squirrels don't knock, I don't think. All right, so we're going to wrap this abruptly. I'm going to go see if it's probably my neighbor guy. He's come twice, so I feel like I should probably go check it out. I assume it's him. Who helped me lift my dock out of the water last week. So it's like one of those systems where like we all help each other on the lake, and I feel like when somebody's in need now, you got to come to the rescue. But all right, anything, we're going to do a Q&A later this week, right? That's the plan.
Yep, 7 questions left. Then we're done forever.
Yeah, but we're gonna elaborate. Yeah, right. As soon as we say this is what happens. People are gonna hear this. They're gonna go and they're gonna message us their questions, and then we're gonna have a whole long list again. That'd be my guess.
Yes. True.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go get to it, and then thank you guys for listening.
See you.
Yeah, it's weird.